Fallout New Vegas speedruns have shown that the game can be beaten as a pacifist, but what if you had to do it without speech checks? And so this Barter run doesn't become the exact same thing except with Barter checks, and since we know Linnaeus can be convinced with both, let's spice things up a bit. The only skill check I can pass in dialogue is Barter. This, for example, means that I won't be able to use the Black Widow perk on Benny to get the Platinum chip, even though yes, it's a perk instead of a skill. Still. Or to convince the NCR heavy troopers outside of Hoover Dam's control room to leave. And this also got me thinking, just how many skills overall do I actually need? Cause I'm pretty sure I can forgo most of them. So not only is combat not allowed, which includes placing mines outside of combat, no loopholes, but things like lockpicking, hacking, pickpockets, and crafting are also out of the picture. What I can do is heal normally, whether by buying stimpaks or sleeping in a bath. I can have NPCs repair my armor if I need to, and I'll allow myself to use Veronica as a key to open up the Hidden Valley bunker, but that's it. Why this last bit, you ask? Cause you've already seen me get the holotape from the Centaur's crater, get captured by the Brotherhood, meet the scout, and then smash his radio. And Veronica's in the way, so that's faster for me. So, can you eat Fallout New Vegas using only Barter skill checks? A tickle to the brain and the weird dream later, and the courier now believes to be a logistics manager. Yeah, that's not a typo. I needed an extra letter, and I didn't want that to be a single word. The stats I'm gonna go with are 9 in endurance, charisma, intelligence, and luck, 2 in strength, and 1 in both perception and agility. The skills I have tagged were Barter and Medicine. Survival was pre-selected and I didn't bother changing it. As for the traits, the best seemed to be good-natured and skilled. Roaming the dog's house, I couldn't create an extra 5 stimpaks on the camp station due to the rules, but I got the stimpaks and the goodies laying around that weren't marked as owned. Doc Mitchell then gives us the stuff we had on us when Victor brought us in, offered me the vault suit his late wife used to wear, which, thanks I guess. And we got to see the sun for the first time in weeks. I thanked Victor for digging us up, sold things I didn't need to chat, and we're done with Goodsprings. I'm not gonna be visiting the schoolhouse on this one for that sweet stealth boy or the cemetery, since there is no point on collecting snow globes on this one, and I'm pretty sure gathering clues on Benny won't help me either. And so the journey begins. I pass through Gene skydiving and reach Sloan, where Chomps warns us about the Deathclaws up north, as he tells me not to bite more than I could chew. Before ignoring his advice, we meet Snuffles! Can't fix her leg though, since that's not a barter check. What I can do is go into the mining office, head upstairs, and grab a couple extra caps from 2 trunks. They are marked as owned, but this ain't pickpocket, so we're golden and 200 caps richer. On the way to Neil's shack, the ambient music changes. A rat scorpion must have seen me, but they are easy to outrun, so no combat ensued. Neil then interrupts my jog to tell me this is a dangerous place, which, yeah, there's Nightkins up in the mountains and Deathclaws down by the roads. And that's why I'm going to jump on a certain rock to go through the hills. I made the 5-second detour to get the NCR Ranger safe house map marker for later, and do a 180 to get back on track to near the strip. I passed through Cassidy Caravan Wreckage and got some more useful map markers that were on the way to the Gunrunners, the NCR Sharecropper Farm, Camp McCarran, and the El Rey Motel. In the Gunrunners, I sell some more stuff I won't need to the Vendortron, which leaves me shy of 200 caps to pass the cap check to enter the strip. Although I could have sold the Weather 10mm pistol to Mick, but he wouldn't have enough money to pay it in full, and I'll be damned if I do a bad deal on a barter run. On my way to make a bet, I passed near both Freeside's gates and the Crimson Caravan Company. A couple raw hamburgers aggroed, but couldn't keep up and get to me. In Field's shack, I got some extra ammo to sell later, and Aveline, a unique BB gun that'll fetch us a good amount of caps as well. And then came George, the boomer that's not part of the boomers. He has a barter check we could pass, but instead of making him go all in, the option is simply for us to risk less money. And since what I'm betting is that I can outrun a bombardment, yeah, there is no way I'll argue for a smaller bet. He then immediately starts running towards the boomers as if the best was to see who'd get there first, but that ain't my problem. As usual, going towards the left hills does it. I did have to use a couple stimpaks, but that's fine. And then came a really good omen. I managed to position myself in a way that both the boomer guard and Raquel were completely in frame, instead of, being partially hidden by the gates. I'll take that as a sign of good luck. We got invited in, and Mother Pearl had the audacity of rambling on how long it took me to get here, and how they've been waiting for a good 5 years for someone to visit, as if they haven't been bombarding anyone that tried. Dummies. Anyways, this should do it for the boomers, so I went back to George to get my money back, and his wonderful AI got him in the line of sight of the boomers, which made him a target. Nice, because now instead of getting 600 caps, we got over 700. I then went back to the field shack to take a nap and replenish my health, and this is where I decided to go over the cons and the Brotherhood as well. Since I have to do it, might as well do it now, so I fast traveled to Camp McCarran and entered Fiend territory. I crossed the bridge near the El Rey Motel, kept myself by the left wall until I could circumvent their buildings instead of going through them, and these dudes were being certified stormtroopers. And okay, some of their shots actually landed, but considering the amount of fiends versus the amount of damage they made, that was beyond laughable. I'm still at level 1. Though they did keep on following me, and probably because it's late, there was a whole family of geckos that seemed to be on the fiend's track team. And as I was running from them, I actually got slapped in the ass twice. Fortunately, they give up pretty quickly, since they don't go into Red Rock Canyon. In the Great Khan's lands, I got the map marker, which is all I needed, but also a couple turbo that they had laying around, which might be useful later. I've got no plans on using medics and the like on this run, but the turbo will help me not having to spam stimpaks later. And that is quality of life. I then fast traveled back to the NCR Ranger safe house, and from here until the 188, the way's a breeze. Unless you get greedy with the straight line. Then, you'll encounter a Deathclaw. Anyways, before using Veronica as a key, I went on to get the Eldorado substation map marker, cause if I finish S-Man's questline before being able to fast travel there, then a Legion ambush would occur between the 188 and the substation. And that's when I see Helios 1 in the distance. Let's just go and get the rest of the map markers. If I am to run around like a headless chicken, might as well get over it as soon as I can. This is also the point where I decided to try and do everything I know Yes Man will ask me before meeting him.
Who sent you? I ain't talking.
That's talking.
Confounded no bark, you done it again.
I then sold some more useless junk, this time to Cliff Briscoe, and kept on going to get the last map marker. A couple geckos were in the way, but unlike the fire geckos we encountered before, these were easy to outrun without taking a single hit. And eventually, I reach Sniper's Nest, without finding a single ghoul either, another great route to add to the list. After a quick nap, I went back to the 188 and got me a keychain.
Thanks for taking a chance on a naive young girl from California with stars in her eyes and a pneumatic gauntlet on her hand.
We went back to Sloan and I had a little chat with her.
Am I punching too much? I get carried away.
Veronica, do not engage in combat unless I have. Please.
What a coincidence. I've been doing that all this time.
Fortunately, there was only the one rat scorpion. I was outrunning it, and it was outrunning Veronica, and all I wanted was to get into the bunker without her attacking it, but she did. And those were the 9 XP that were enough to get me into level 2. The irony. But whatever, I could have outrun it, I told her to leave it, and it's just 9 XP. It's meaningless in the grand scheme. But I put the points into Barter and took the Black Widow perk, cause at this point in the run, I didn't know how to get past Benny and wanted a backup plan. But remember, if I do end up having to use it, then the challenge is lost. Anyways, Veronica was hungry, Ramos let us in, we had a chat, and I asked her to leave.
Why does everyone always say that?
I then went through Freeside's North Gate and into the Followers Fort to get some stimpaks from Julie, while making sure I'd have at least 2,000 caps for the cap check. And if you're thinking, isn't that a dialogue check? Nope. It's not tied to a skill, perk or stat, and in fact showing you got money falls exactly under Barter. Plus, this is a literal check. The Securitron just wants to know if I got at least 2,000 caps. The mummy doesn't like brokies near his 3 favorite casinos. Also, old Ben was awesome and kept the thug that was coming after us busy. Then Victor said hi, I went into Gamora, and all we need is to meet and greet. Oh, and Billy's got jokes.
It's hard to sleep in this place, I tell you. Last night some girl was pounding on my door all night. Finally, I had to let her out. What?
I said he had jokes, not good ones. Anyways, I got me the free magazines out of habit. Went into the Ultralux to meet Marjorie and Mortimer, and that's enough for the wildcard sidebats that Yes Man has not tasked us with yet. Next stop, the tops, where the greeter isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. He wants me to disarm, I tell him I'm unarmed, and he says,
"Smooth and easy, just the way I like it. Don't worry, they'll be as safe as kittens till you're ready to leave."
Yeah, that's silly. And then came Benny!
What in the goddamn?
This triggered a couple level ups, but most importantly, there's something I was overthinking a lot. You see, I was thinking about all the wrong scenarios. What if Swank sends him to his room? I can't defend myself, and I'm not gonna use a companion as a loophole. What if Benny sends me to the presidential and I cannot escape the bodyguards? I also can't use the Black Widow perk, but I can just tell Benny I'm gonna tell everyone what he did and dip.
Do what you gotta do, baby, and let the chips fall as they may. You know where to find me.
And yeah, I don't know how I just found this out, but we can just leave. Vulpes will show up, and Benny will have fled the strip already, but before I could leave, level 3 and 4 came around. I put all the points into Barter and chose the educated perk. Once outside, we learned that we've been impressing a bald man, that he would like to give us some jewelry, and that we've been invited to Fortification Hill, where Benny is also headed. Obviously, and with the pieces falling into place, we accept. I fast travel to Sniper's Nest, go down the hill, and show the Mark of Kaiser to the Legion Explorer that came to see who was approaching. He tells me where to find Lucullus, who I tell to start rowing, and in the fort, I'm once again and quote-unquote disarmed, except this time I had to also relinquish some banned items. Benny's been captured, and here's Kaiser.
So I finally get to meet the courier who's accomplished so much in so little time. That's why I summoned you here, right? I mean, a man nearly kills you, and your response is to track him across the breadth of the Mojave?
Baldy, he then goes on about his lifelong dream of feeling the ground shake, and reminds me, if we do his bidding, we'll get to choose Benny's fate. Level 5 means Barter 100, and I put the rest into medicine, so Stimpaks can feel more useful.
Go ahead and laugh, baby. I ain't blind to the humor in this situation.
I mean, it is pretty funny that I get to decide how the man that shot me in the head is going down.
Yeah, Baldy said you'd get to decide. So which way you leaning?
Got a preference?
Yeah, to die in my sleep at a ripe old age after a marathon session of hey-hey with 30 sex-starved broads.
Most importantly, we can ask him what he thinks we should do with the chip.
Sure. Baldy wants you to go down there in the bunker and destroy whatever Mr. House stashed there. Oh, you don't want to do that, baby. Whatever's down in that bunker is the key to the city called Vegas. So here's what you do. You go down there and you use the chip to do whatever Mr. House would have wanted you to do. And when you get back to the strip, you find Yes Man.
He knows he's done, so he would rather pass his plan on to us. Say what you will about Benny, but that's a nice detail about him. Unlike, you know, putting us 6 feet under. In the weather monitoring station, the guard says Kaiser has permitted our weapons to be returned to us for this task, except it's not weapons that I've gotten back. With a platinum chip on our hand, we unlock the way to the Securiturn vault, and once inside, Mr. House is a bit salty. How dare we get invited to be the first person to visit the Lucky 38 in over 200 years and spurn his invitation? Likewise, why is he in a rush now? He could have given us both an escort to the strip and free passage into it. Anyways, the plan is quite simple. Run and heal. I'm not worried about the Protectrons, but those turrets can be quite deadly. And over here, we do not have an option other than to activate the Securiturn army. I can't blow the generators by interacting with them, not even by trying to punch them, which means we got 4 more turrets left to go through. A couple Stimpaks in the sprint later, and the Securiturn army has been updated to their Mark II. I then use one of the 2 turbo I got, so I don't have to spam Stimpaks needlessly. I was able to outrun the bunker's defenses with a bit over a third of my health, and back to Kaiser.
I felt the ground shake a while ago.
Wish granted, and his next task is exactly what Yes Man would have asked us. To take care of Mr. House. But first, we gotta deal with Benny. Oh, and level 6 came around, I put the points into medicine and took the toughness perk. Benny then asked us what we found, so I told him hundreds of Securitrons, I'll upgrade it just like the mummy wanted. And then he doubles down on wanting us to follow through with his plan.
Make Vegas a town I would have been proud of, baby.
Hey, Benny, what if I just untie you?
What am I gonna say? No thanks?
Fair enough, and you know what? let's give that a go, see if we can both make the run for it. Though a mongrel blocks my entrance, I managed to go through, but not without taking a power fist first, which is actually where I realized that the stimpaks were among the banned items. As you can probably predict, the health I had wasn't enough to make it very far, so Benny's gonna go on a cross.
Happy now, you twisted bitch? Well, I ain't gonna give you the satisfaction.
Oh, shut up! You've got a much better view than you gave me back in Goodsprings. Dig? I then went on to visit Doc Mitchell and Julie Farkas to buy some stimpaks, and then Mick, so he could repair the lightweight metal armor that I've been using. Upon re-entering the strip, an NCR trooper tells me that Ambassador Crocker would love to meet us. However, unfortunately for Dennis, the feeling is not mutual. Victor then opens up the Lucky 38's doors for us, and in the penthouse, I completely ignore Mr. House. I make my way to the terminal at the end of the room, use the platinum chip to get us into the antechamber, and then get into the control room where we get to meet the man himself.
Why?
And even though this isn't exactly a can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a pacifist, I did still decide to simply disable House's cerebral interface, instead of, turning him into a pulse grenade. So, we're set and ready to meet Yes Man. And that's when I remember that, oh shit, I don't have Benny's room key. There I was, thinking, maybe Swank does. Well, he doesn't. Good thing that, in fact, Benny's room is now unlocked, and looking back, yeah, that probably happened as he fled to the strip. Anyways, Yes Man! I didn't really see any bit of unique dialogue that I hadn't seen before, but seeing a bunch of quests mark themselves as completed one after the other, that was a complete beauty. I told him I'm the courier that Benny shot, that I've got the platinum chip, that Mr. House is out of the picture, and that we don't have to worry about any of the tribes that he wanted us to meet. I invite him to join me back at the Lucky 38, level 7 comes around. I put the points into medicine, he makes himself at home in our newly acquired casino, and a whole unskippable demonstration begins.
Okay, so you're familiar with Securitrons by now, obviously. I mean, some of your best friends are Securitrons, right?
He then warns us about the imminent attack on President Kimbo, but I don't care about that, and our final task before the second battle of Hoover Dam is to install an override chip at the El Dorado substation. So I fast travel over there, get in, install the chip, and since everyone was busy doing their animation of waking up, no one aggroed on time, so I got back out and fast traveled out of there. That prompted both Old Ben to say hi for the first time, and level 8. After Medicine 100 I didn't really know what to choose, so I just put points into Sneak. As for the perk, I went with the second toughness one. Yes Man then reminds me that even though we've activated the Mark II, we can still choose to destroy the Securitron army in the dam. Nice, cause that's what I'll be doing. And in Hoover Dam, the tactic is the same as it was in the Securitron Vault. We run and we heal, if need be. Well, when need be, not if. Anyways, passing through the Centurions and the Legionnaires is easy. It's the NCR heavy troopers that I'm worried about, cause the only option I have to make them leave their post is a speech check, which I can't use, obviously. They warn me not to go in, but they don't mind if I open the door, so I take a cheeky quick save and make a run to the console as I try to avoid their heavy incinerators from turning me into ash. I managed to install the chip, good thing that time stops for dialogue and the joke continued. They didn't seem to follow me through the hallway, but other NCR troopers did exactly that. In the power plant, we blew up the dam's generators, went back to the previous area, which had a horde of campers waiting for me, but I managed to go past them. The NCR heavy troopers, though, were nowhere to be seen. Presumably having decided to go after nearby Legion members, I don't know. What I know is that 2 Legionnaires I found were so hyper-focused on the NCR that they didn't even notice me. On the east side of the dam, a group of Centurions took me down with 1 shot, even though I had nearly half my health. So after the gentle reminder to heal, and even though that was probably just a critical hit, there wasn't anything to worry between here and the Legate's camp. And it is Legate, right? Cause there's Caesar, there's Kaiser, but God forbid I say Legate. And some of y'all were petty as fuck. In the camp, you got it, I just keep on running until we meet Legate Lenny.
An envoy of Vegas.
face.
And thus, the bartering route of convincing Linnaeus ensues. As a logistics manager, I tell him that, yeah, they could take the West, but could they hold it? Because the supply lines over here are what's putting the NCR down on their knees, with most settlements over here already dependent on caravans and being anything but self-sufficient.
Long ago, when taking Denver, I had to face such a challenge. Many died over many years to claim the city as ours. It was the lines of food and water that nearly broke the Legion's strength, and the lack of tribals near that cursed city.
I used the last barter check to tell him that we have faith in trading, cause fuck yeah, barter run. To which he replies, alright, well, I'll be back later, prepare cause next time I'll bring more water and food, I guess. Oh, and then he runs like an embarrassed fangirl. And all that's left to do is to deal with General Lee Oliver. First, he blows up the gate. Then, he does the slowest of walks, right after he kindly teaches us nearly all the swear words in the English language. The cigar is a lie. And lastly, I cannot for the life of me figure out where the barter dialogue checks are. Two speech options show up. Is the barter one behind one of those, or... whatever, I'll just wait for the armor of 4 TV on wheels to try and deal with them. The first attempt didn't go that well. So, on the second, I used turbo as soon as I could, jogged away and started thinking. How come? The General has NCR heavy troopers to defend him during the Legion ending, but barges in with NCR Rangers into the Legate's camp? Don't know about you, but NCR Heavy Ranger or something like that would have been way more overpowered. And funny enough, waiting does it. Wait, that's not the funny bit. Quest is completed. The General's still alive. So, good thing that the Securitrons finished him off, but at the same time, we were 2 to 3 seconds away from seeing Yes Man triggering the credits, with the General still alive. That would have been hilarious. And so, can you beat Fallout New Vegas using only barter skill checks? Yes, you can. And if you'd like to help me out, just interact with this video in whichever way you prefer. Leave a like or a comment or both, subscribe for more. Oh, and I got more challenges and other types of videos as well. Feel free to check the channel and the playlists. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Steve Whittle and to John Walker for their support of the channel. And to you! So, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, I hope I'll see you on the next one, and I hope you have a good one. Bye!
And I guess I'll see you around. We accomplished a lot together. It was fun. Take care.